Good morning, welcome to Planet Mojo. Today we're going to start putting up the metal ceiling in the post frame wood shop. A little bit dirty out here from yesterday's work. Yesterday I got this garage door stuff all boxed in and got my big girt up there. Today I install the ceiling, but first thing I got to do is measure out from each end a little bit more than the overall width of the panels. The panels are 38 3/16 strong, so what I'm going to do is measure out 38 3/8 of an inch from these metal brackets, and I'll put a line there. I'll put my laser on the ground and then hit the line on both sides. That'll give me a line on all of the joists in between, and I can measure from that line over to the girt and see if they're all the same. I doubt that they will be, but if we have like something like this is exaggerated. If we have it way too short in the middle, I need to know all that stuff, or even the opposite if the wall is bowed that way. If it's this way and we put that first panel in, we're going to have an opening here, and the other way it's just going to be off. The first panel may go in, and then the second panel will go in that way, third panel go in that way. Either way, it's going to be a mess. So the first thing I need to do is throw that line between the two hash marks and see what I have. I could also do it with a chalk line, but a chalk line is not as precise, and I have the laser, so I'm going to use it. All right, I have my laser set up. I'm sure you can see that, but I don't think you'll be able to see it over here because I can barely see it. But it is dead on the line over here, and try not to bump this table. Dead on the line over here. Now I'm going to measure from the laser line back to the girt on all of these joists, and I'm going to do this one last because if I bump this table, I'll have to start all over again. Quick little tip on these laser levels: if you don't use them very much, like I don't, you have to take the batteries out every time, otherwise you're going to ruin it. All right, we'll get that later. All right, I have, you're probably not going to be able to see these, but I have a hash mark on every joist, and I measured from each hash mark back to the girt, and I have a real good idea of what's going on. We have 38 7/16 out on each end, and then on this side, it's exactly the same at the first one. It's shy by 1/8 here, same. I mean, this side is really good all the way up to right here. Then, once you get to the other side, well, actually, these right here don't even matter because they get an opening cut out of them. Then we go to this one, 38 3/16. That is this big one right here. Then these two are a special case. We have 38 7/16, just like the other side. Then we have 38 1/16, and then 38 1/4. The reason for that is because these aren't screwed down yet. I have to push those to the right place, clamp them up, and then throw a screw up into the joist. So I'm going to do that right away. That'll cure that one, but I don't think so on this one, and I know it won't cure this one, but that doesn't matter. Now that I know what everything is, my first and second panel are going to go in just fine. And then the third panel, I just need to trim a tiny little bit off the end, and that one will be fine as well. Then all of them will be running in a nice straight line, and then I can work my way that way. I'm going to be using this laser level again to get the exact tops of all the wood panels all the way around the shop. I'm going to set it up right in the middle and mess around with it until it's exact, and then my panels will be perfect all the way around. I'll put a link to this in the description. It's a relatively cheap laser level, but it works just fine. Only problem is you got to turn the lights off on something this big, but not that big of a problem. All right, it's about time to open up the F&J and start putting that in. Figure out which side is the back, and both of these sides are the back, so I can cut right along this. All right, this is one of the F&J moldings, and it's called that because this top part looks like a F and this looks like a J. This is like a J molding, and this would be a F molding. This is a regular piece of J molding, and how this is all going to go together, we're going to have all wood on this wall, and this wall here, the wood's going to go up about 8 feet. Then it's going to be tin going up to the ceiling after that. So in the upper part of this, this will have J molding, kind of like that, right about like that, and the panel's going to go inside of it. So on here, let's see how that would look. That would look kind of like this. So, oh, and then we also have another F&J going the other way. We have one going this way and one going that way. So what I'm struggling with right now is how these are all going to come together. I believe I need to cut this 1 inch and fold it out, but then does the other F&J, this would go behind this same part on the other F&J, but then where would the J molding come up in there? Interesting. Well, I'm almost positive that I need to cut this back, I think that's 1 inch right here, and then fold it out. So that's what I'm going to do, and we'll get this first piece in. I still got to do that adjustment on the girt over there, but kind of raring to go. These are 10.5 feet. We got 4/8. That'll get me right above the doors somewhere. Then we'll have a shorter chunk over there. Then I got to get that girt screwed into place, and then I can put the F&J on the other side. Good, good, good. All right, let's get this cut and put it up. This is my first tin ceiling, so hopefully I'm not making any glaring mistakes. But not a lot of tin ceilings, especially on YouTube, are going to be quite like this, with one wall solid wood and another wall tin and stuff like that. So I'm kind of making this up as I go. All right, I just got to make the cut there, bend this over, and that's it. Well, this is pretty thick. I'm gonna probably have to go get my bending tool. See how this bends. It's pretty thick. It's bending fine. Not bad. Now this should tuck behind this same piece on the one going this way. I'm still not exactly sure how the J channel is going to come up into this, but I'll figure it out. Yeah, it'll go just like that. All right, I believe I have it. All right, I have a little cold, so it's a bit hard for me to talk, but I'll show you what I'm doing before I get too far ahead of myself. I've been drilling holes every 10-12 inches or so for the nails, and I found out on the first one, I was trying to get them up higher so that they would be, so that they would hold it flatter, but when you do that, you hit the molding with your hammer, so got to do that a little bit lower. And I was having a hell of a time trying to figure out how this overlaps. I couldn't find any videos on it on YouTube, and I finally figured it out. It's a lot like the corner. The only thing that shows in the end is this piece right here. We have a panel going into it here and a panel going into it here. This is the only thing that shows. So I just cut it a 1/2 inch back and left a little tab right here. Put the tab behind there, and that's about all you need. Got one nail into each joist, cut out for this plate, and that's about it for this. Now I'm gonna go and start on that wall. Once I'm finished with that, I'll go do the same thing on that side. Not really sure how much I'm gonna get done today. I really took a long time trying to figure out these joints. I cut several pieces there, but now that I got it figured out, it should go a lot quicker. But I also have to figure out how to hold these up on that wall. I think I'm gonna have to make a cleat that goes on the bottom because this is 10 feet long and I really need it held up while I get the nails in. All right, we'll figure it out when we get over there. Okay, it is quitting time, and all I have in is these 3 pieces, but I guess today was the learning curve, and I had to do all that laser work. That took a couple hours this morning, so that's gonna wrap it up for today. 3 pieces in. I am 10.5 feet in the long direction and halfway on the short direction. So I wanted to show you this real quick. This is where I bent that out, and that goes behind here. So when I push this up against it until it stops, there's a gap here and here. Doesn't matter at all. Like I said, the panel fills this entire area right here, so this corner will be filled, and the ceiling will go in here, and you won't see any of this either, so that's all good. This stuff is pretty easy to seam, and I was really worried about it and tried a bunch of different things, and in the end it's real easy. You can barely even see that seam right there, and once the wall and ceiling panels are in, that's basically going to disappear. So that's the way to do it. So tomorrow, I think I'll put that in the same video. First thing, I'll get that top girt adjusted, then get the F and J the same way as I got it on this. Then I can start putting panels in. the way I'm going to do the panels is to run one layer all the way across. Then I got to get up there and insulate on top of it. Then I can lay the next layer. So it's going to take a while. And we have a penetration here for this power. We have this big boxed opening right here. I have to loosen up, or actually take the bolts out of the garage door hardware, drop that down, run a panel underneath it, and then reconnect it. That's going to be a little difficult. And what else? We have the propane line and the furnace mount. Then we have another power line coming down through it over there. So there's lots of little things that I got to do as I do it, but I'm guessing this is going to go relatively quick. We have 10 days of pretty nice weather coming up, so I'm sure I can get this ceiling in 10 days. All right, let me go rest this cold a little bit, and I'll get back with you tomorrow. All right, it's day 2 of the ceiling install. I don't know how much I'll be able to film. I still have a pretty bad cold and a raspy voice, but what I'm thinking, I need these horses for when I start cutting the panels. So what I'm going to do is get all of this lumber off of it and put it right along here. I'm really tight on space right now, but that'll open up this area. So I think I'll put one more piece of F&J in here. Then I'll move over to the other side and get the exact same thing on the other side. Get that far corner done, and then 2 pieces of F&J. That may take up the whole day with me being sick. Well, it probably will. Then the day after that, I can start putting in the tin. Who knows? Maybe I'll be able to get some tin in today, but I'm kind of doubting it. All right. My cat is with me. She keeps going up into the rafters, and I keep saving her, but I'm going to have to ignore her for a while. Otherwise, she'll just keep doing that all day. All right, let's move this stuff. This is all I do for the butt joints for the layout. I just mark in 1/2 inch wherever I can. Everything's going to get removed except for this right here, and this will go behind the next piece, like that joint right there. In the end, it's going to be basically invisible. Like all this stuff, when you look at it from a certain side, you can't see it at all. Okay, I have about 21 feet of F&J on both of the side walls, and the back wall's done. Now, to end up the day, It's probably about 1 o'clock right now. I'm gonna go have some lunch, and then when I come back, I need to fill some of the areas up here with loose fiberglass. I'm going to be putting bats, which are about as thick as this right here, on top of the tin as I put it in, but I don't want any places like this where the fill, the blown in fill, may not get to. It'll probably get to all this stuff, but like right here, and especially where we have bracing like that, it's kind of open back there. So I'm going to stuff that full of insulation and work my way down to the other end. Then I'll set up the sawhorses or something to cut the tin, because my first piece of tin tomorrow is going right here. It goes out to right here, and it has an opening for this box out right here. Really cool. All right, I'll get back to this in just a minute. I should mention right away that I'm making my marks for the depth of the blown-in insulation while I'm up here, and where we have this box out, obviously they have to jump up. It's all the same depth, but we're starting from a higher surface here, and we have that all filled in up there. So when I put in my insulation, it's just going to go right up to the edge up there, and then the blown-in insulation will go up to that mark. Okay, I got all the insulation stuffed in where it needs to be, and I have the final depth of the blow-in insulation marked here. I just got to do a little bit of marking over the garage hardware box out and along this side right here. Then I'll be ready to put tin in, but that's going to have to be tomorrow because I am completely out of energy. This cold is kind of knocking me out, so I'm going to go try to get 12 hours of sleep and get back at this in the morning. So if you want to see the tin go in, it's going to be tomorrow. So make sure you subscribe and click on the update icon. If you have any questions or comments, make sure you put them in the comment section below. And if you share the video and or give it a like, it helps the channel out greatly. Thanks for watching and have a great day.